From 1965 to 1977, Srila Prabhupada traveled the world preaching, working tirelessly translating his books, while at the same time keeping in constant communication with his disciples through personal letters. It is through these letters that we are able to derive life lessons, material and spiritual, as well as appreciate Srila Prabhupada's loving care for his disciples. Let us now hear from one of those fortunate devotees who personally received correspondence from His Divine Grace.
I wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada to send him my Guru Dakshin, which I don't recall as being a very large amount, perhaps $50 that I somehow collected. And I gave the letter to my temple president, who at that time was Damodar Das. I was living in Washington, D.C., Q Street Temple. And I asked him to send it to Srila Prabhupada, and he said he would when he wrote his own letter to Prabhupada. That meant it sat in his office for months, waiting for him to write a letter. And for that reason, I believe I dated it at the end. So I don't think Prabhupada noticed it, because you'll tell that he thought my letter was undated. But his response was dated November 23rd, 1971. Well, I had gotten initiated in July when Prabhupada came to New York. And there was that very large initiation that was over a whole week's time. And many devotees got initiated. And it says, "My dear Mahamaya dasi, please accept my blessings. I have received your letter undated and have noted the contents carefully. I am very pleased by your attitude to surrender yourself completely by engaging cent% in Krishna's service. Somehow or other, always to be thinking about Krishna, that is the goal of Krishna consciousness process. So now you please help me to spread this information all over this earth planet, especially by helping to distribute my books and literatures, as many as possible. Then you will get the credit and know it for certain that very soon you will go back to home, back to Godhead. I hope this finds you in good health and cheerful mood. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami." So when I received this letter, I was baffled as to what I had written that made him see that in his vision, I was, as he wrote, surrendering myself completely in Krishna's service. I mean, I didn't see that in myself. But looking back on it now, I would think that I would have immediately figured out some way to distribute his books, as many as possible, like he said. However, I was more involved with producing Prabhupada's books. Like when I first joined, it was in Boston. ISKCON Press was there. And within a week, they found out I could type. And very soon, I was learning how to compose on the old composing machine, which was typesetting. And so I felt very satisfied to be helping produce Prabhupada's books. And this letter might have inspired me to again go back to that service, because by the time I received the letter, I wasn't doing that service anymore. It wasn't like I wanted to leave it, but it's a long story. I wasn't doing that service, but I did go back to that service, and it was really satisfying to help produce Prabhupada's books. Really a nice service. And I was born in a family of writers, editors. My father started his own publishing business, so it was a world I was very familiar with. And to this day, I mean, from decades, I've been proofreading Back to Godhead magazine and other books. So yeah, it's Big Prabhupada's books are very dear to him, and
Well, you're doing
therefore
it sounds like you're doing your part anyway. So whatever form that's taking, that's fantastic.
But just, the fact that he was saying I'll go back to Godhead by helping him, and I wish I really was a book distributor. I'm afraid I'm not an effective book distributor. I do hand out a lot of invitations to the Sunday Feast when I go shopping or interact with, non-devotees, but it's clear to me that this was a letter not just for me. I see the universality of this. Like every devotee should be committed to spreading Prabhupada's teachings. And obviously we're all very clear that his books are very important to him. And there's many ways people are preaching and serving. And also I remember it's the emphasis of the book, not the book, the bucket brigade concept. Like we're all part of getting the books out to people in our different services. Like if the book distributors didn't have prasadam, you have to have cooks. You have to have deity worship. You have to have all these facilities for the people who are distributing books. So we're all part of that book brigade, or bucket brigade. And everybody's important. It's not like somebody's at home taking care of their children. No, that's part of it. Right. It's all connected. We're all connected in this. And I just really have so much admiration for the actual book distributors. So, yeah.
What about, you got another letter?
Yeah, so
you wrote him?
I wrote him again, sending, again, Guru Dakshin for second initiation. I didn't get second initiation in person. There was a letter. Maybe I should read that next because that's in chronological order. So there was a letter that Prabhupada wrote to Satsvarup Das Adhikari at the time. That was dated May 17th, 1972. And the first paragraph, he wrote, I have received several letters from Hridayananda requesting sacred thread initiation for Pusta Krishna and Mahamaya Dasi in Houston Center. So now he has come to Los Angeles. So I am sending you their threads and 2 copies of Gayatri Mantra enclosed. You may hold a fire yagna and give them both Gayatri Mantra. You know well how to do it. So this letter was connecting not just Hridayananda to become sannyas, but also Sasrupa. I'll read the second paragraph. Another thing, I am giving sannyas to Rupanuga, Kurandar, and Bali Mardan. And as you have also asked me, I shall also be pleased to give you sannyas. The others are coming to Los Angeles by the 25th of May, 1972, and the ceremony will be held on the 27th of May. However, as I am most probably coming to Dallas on my return from Mexico City, and this was written to Sasru in Dallas, I'm most probably coming to Dallas on my return from Mexico City. It is more practical to give you sannyas order of life at that time. If possible, you can also come and take sannyas along with others. And what I remember, because I do have the original letter, but I couldn't find it, that he wrote in his own handwriting at the bottom of the letter, again saying, come to Los Angeles and take sannyas with the others. So that's exactly what he did. And it turned out that what Prabhupada was saying didn't fully materialize. Kurandar didn't take sannyas at that time, but somebody else did instead. Oh, I can't remember right now. But anyway, the part about my second initiation, always, what struck me always was how he said, I am sending you their threads. That's just interesting because women didn't get a sacred thread, but Prabhupada said there. Anyway, I never got it, of course. So we have
got his blessings.
Yeah, and he authorized it. So we listened to a tape of Prabhupada saying the Gayatri Mantra, and that was done during the ceremony in the Dallas temple. So then, because I wanted to give him Guru Dakshin for getting second initiation, so I again wrote a letter and sent the money. I probably sent it to Kurandar because he was the treasurer for ISKCON at that time. So this was written on September 9th, 1972. My dear Mahamaya, please accept my blessings. I beg to thank you very much for your kindly remembering me on Vyasa Puja birthday. And I have duly received your gift of $50. And I have appreciated your warm sentiments with great satisfaction. I am very much encouraged by your progress in Krishna consciousness. Now go on in this way, always striving to please Krishna, and you will feel yourself becoming happy more and more. That I want. Thank you once again, your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So I gave this donation. I remember it as, like I said, Guru Dakshim, but he took it as a Vyasa Puja offering. Maybe that was my intention too. I don't remember. But his description again of how, he's encouraged by my progress. I mean, I didn't see it. Now, the interesting thing about this letter is the same exact wording was sent to other devotees at the same time. And I just remember my god sister Chintamani, who was very soft-hearted. She got the same letter and she was crying because it just struck her heart so much, saying things like, Prabhupada says, making progress, but I don't feel like I am, along those lines, and that was really sweet. But I just felt like the same letter was just so personal, even if it had the same wording. It didn't really make any difference. And, it wasn't any less to me or to her. And I believe others got the same letter. So we were always told not to bother Prabhupada with our letters. If we had a problem, go to the GBC. And so, but my other connection to Prabhupada's letters was that I got to type them for a short time. I was in Vrindavan, India, in September of 1975. And somehow I convinced Prabhupada's secretary, who was Brahmananda Swami. He was like a big brother to me. And when I asked if I could type the letters, and I brought my own typewriter to India, he agreed. He agreed and he let me type. He would get the gist of the letter from Prabhupada, and then he would make his own tape, and I would transcribe that. And I didn't even have a dictaphone machine. I had a tape recorder, an ancient tape recorder. I mean, ancient from the point of view now, And you had to like stop and start and rewind and the whole thing. But I typed them up. I was so happy to do that service. And I found them in Vedabase. It must have been like 15 or 16 letters. Yeah, that was very, very special to me.
Was there a response? Did Prabhupada find out that you were typing these letters, and how did that begin or end? Or end, I guess.
Well, what Brahmananda told me was Prabhupada, I'm not sure how he figured it out. I did put my initials after Prabhupada, when you type a letter, whoever typed it would put Prabhupada's initials and a slash and their initials. So I put Prabhupada's slash BS for Brahmananda Swami and slash and then MDD for my initials. Maybe he figured it out that way. But what he said to Brahmananda was, why do I have a secretary if he has a secretary? So that's what ended it. But what unexpectedly came out of that interaction of my going back and forth with the transcribing the letters, I think I did a draft first to make sure it was okay, and then got Brahmananda's approval and then typed it up on Prabhupada stationery. So in that all those interactions, it came to light that they needed an extra person to travel to Ahmedabad, where Prabhupada was going to go next, to help carry luggage. Because normally Prabhupada had a bigger luggage, well, everybody still has a bigger luggage allowance on international flights, and this was a domestic flight. And I was actually going to Mumbai, called Bombay then, to be Gopal Krishna Das Adhikari, his secretary. That's why I had a typewriter. And so Ahmedabad is on the way. Anyway, it's a little complicated, but I ended up, because of Brahmananda's mercy, of going on the same plane with Srila Prabhupada. And that's a whole story in itself. And it's in my book, Srila Prabhupada is Coming. But it's that was really mercy. And that was really fun to go on the same plane with Prabhupada. Tried to distribute Bhagavad Gita to somebody on the plane, but he didn't take it. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm not a good book distributor. But the story always goes on.
Right. Well, tell me, just to conclude, what your realizations on coming back to those letters and reading them after maybe a couple decades. The importance of those letters to you or to other devotees, maybe.
Well, there was a lot more than I remembered. I just, like, certain highlights I remembered of, like the first one, that know it for certain you'll go back to Godhead. I mean, this is like, wow, because now we're all of the age of pretty much regularly we're hearing about a god brother or god sister leaving their body. I mean, most of us are in our 70s, maybe a few in the 60s, most of us 70s, very close. I'm very close to 80. And devotees in their 80s. So yeah, it's significant that we connected with Prabhupada, gave our life to him, and just so grateful.
Right.
Yeah, really grateful.
Well, I'm grateful, and the devotees here that are watching all over the world are grateful to you for sharing, and continue on with your save. I'm sure you will, get that blessings from Prabhupada going back to Godhead. So, God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.